Hello, everyone. This is Silu welcoming you to a new episode of the EY Tech Trends podcast, where we look at the most important issues that India Inc. needs to know in its digitization journey. Today, we are discussing the new trends shaping Industry 4.0, and we have with us Harsh Kumar, who is a consulting partner at EY India and focuses on the digital and emerging technology space. Harsh will help us deep dive into how Industry 4.0 is revolutionizing the way companies manufacture, improve, and distribute their products. Harsh, would you throw some light today on the key technological changes that COVID-19 pandemic brought into the manufacturing sector?
First of all, Silu, really thank you for having me over
Thank
and
you.
giving me this opportunity to share my perspective in this important space for India Incorporated. The impact of
Thank,
COVID-19 on manufacturing sector has been significant, especially on the production and supply chain and logistics areas. Something which was not really visible earlier in the manufacturing, like a work from home, hybrid work options, have actually become a reality and reduced the administrative cost. RP adoption is also increasing significantly and automating the repetitive tasks. There's a whole bunch of activities which are happening now, say smart manufacturing, real-time inventory tracking, condition monitoring systems, predictive maintenance of asset and their health tracking. The supply chains have seen a lot of digital interventions to make them agile, responsive, and cost efficient. Some of the leading players are actually implementing digital twin simulations for testing and other areas. Auto sector has always been leading with robos for enhancing the productivity and safety and the quality in their sector. Many businesses have become technology driven company. In fact, some manufacturing businesses are shifting their focus to become a technology company, and we had seen some examples in the past as well. According to an allied market research, this market of, you can say, digital manufacturing market will register a CAGR of close to 16.5%. That is a jump from 276 billion in 2020 to 1,370 billion by 2030.
that's very insightful, Harsh. Thanks for that. Moving on, Harsh, what are the current key challenges in smart manufacturing?
It's a very important aspect from an implementation perspective, Silu, and thank you for asking this one. There are actually, in my opinion, there are five major challenges which cut across, you can say, data ingestion, OT connectivity, cybersecurity, cost related to, or you can say the capex related to implementation, and definitely the technical skills needed to do these kind of an implementation. OT connectivity issues predominantly are due to ports compatibility, multiple communications protocols, network issues, and as one knows, most of our Indian factories also have very old OT systems as well. Cybersecurity is a very major issue because unprotected OT systems, old assets, and IT security ignorance creates easy targets. And we have seen some cyber attacks on our installations in the recent past as well. These issues have a very strong impact on project implementations and can derail the implementation timelines. We also face data ingestion challenges due to old OT devices, which only support one-way communications, and due to high data volume generated by these OT devices, it's not easy to segregate and handle it. The cost is quite significant to try and have uh, and scale it up. But one of the major issues which cannot be ignored is the right skills. In fact, in US, what they have predicted that 65% of the job roles that exist as on date, or rather even 10 years down the line, I mean, they won't be existing really. There's a whole bunch of new roles with a lot of emphasis on digital. And that's a clear indication of the skill scarcity which this industry and across the globe, and including India, will face.
Do you think our factories are 5G ready, Harsh?
5G is supposed to bring in a major transformation on the manufacturing side. But are we ready yet? It's a question is a mixed bag. It's a yes and no. 5G will definitely enable high intensity and ultra low latencies for machine to machine protocols. It will support bandwidth heavy technologies, as we know, like computer vision, AI, audiovisual, and virtual reality, and digital twin technology and their implementations. It can and it will help in real time prediction and detection of defects and damages. This, as per you can say IHS market estimate in a global value across industries by 2035, it can be close to 13 trillion USD. While we have this technology coming in, and we have the OEMs, you can say the world leading manufacturers of equipments and all, from a 5G compatibility, moving towards trying to set up their equipment and working towards that. The ground reality is that in many of our Indian, especially the Indian manufacturing setup, the pace of digital revolution is yet to catch pace, and they're still working. And in some of their areas where these factories operate, it's only 2G and 3G which is there. So it also depends on the way 5G will get enterprise level will get rolled out, because a lot of our factories came up in the remote areas as well, and that may take time because the rollout for an enterprise phase for 5G is still in a you can say phase for deployment. The area, as I mentioned earlier, Sibu, if you recollect, cybersecurity with OT devices will be very crucial. And with 5G, it will obviously be very, very important because the speed and the smoother access controls will actually increase the attack surface. And any lack of cybersecurity awareness, these threats will increase manifold. The telecom players really have burned a hole in their own pockets by buying out these 5G spectrum, and there's going to be uh, quite a stiff competition between the leading players. The capex and the OPEX cost for a 5G implementation in the factory setup is still to be seen as to what's the absorption and the business case which is going to be made up. In my visibility, the leading Indian telecom players are really ramping up their deployment plans, and they have actually done pilot rounds to try and make sure the enterprise business adoption is high. And they, by December 23, which is this year, they do plan to reach out, and that's something which we are all observing very closely. In fact, some of them have gone to that extent of doing lots of pilots with whether it be utility companies, manufacturing companies. They have done pilots also in the agriculture, media, retail, healthcare side, and with all kind of simulations from edge computing, AR, VR, cloud, other areas. And they've tried to be as diverse, cutting across the various segments and sectors as much as is possible in their pilots. So this is a very interesting space to watch out.
That's
Thank you.
great. Harsh, which sectors do you think are currently experimenting with digital twins?
See, look, this is something which is emerging and emerging at a very fast pace. So let me start with a basic definition as well. It's a virtual representation of physical asset, a person or a process which comprise of data collected from multiple sources with a layer of behavioral insights which gets derived from this data and visualization. Earlier, actually, aviation industry, the flight simulators, or you can say the deep sea oil rig testing and the power plant simulator, especially the heavy capex based industry, generally traditionally have been using it across. It's just now that this technology is becoming, you can say, more pervasive, or at least others are trying to. That's how it's becoming very closely, you can say, entwined with the Industry 4.0 plans across the industry verticals. It does help in reducing time to market and wastage, enhancing quality and sustainability. Uh, in certain areas, this has helped improve customer experience, and which, in a way, and all these points will definitely add to the revenue, top line and bottom line as well. In manufacturing, it's definitely getting evaluated and used for product development, I would say, high precision connected tasks, energy management, and and people are using or experimenting it very strongly for AR/VR for troubleshooting for the maintenance or debottlenecking and other areas. Across industries, if you were to ask me that question, is healthcare is using them, you are using them in supply chain areas. Logistics companies are also trying to use them. We are seeing consumer durables also experiment. A global, you can say, toothpaste manufacturer has already deployed it and used it. And as per, I mean, if I were to quote uh, McKinsey themselves, digital twins uh, will actually reduce the time to deploy new artificial driven capabilities by up to 60%. And they will bring down the capex and the opex by close to 15%. This, another study, if you allow me to quote, from markets and markets research, estimate that this market of digital twins is, which is was estimated by them to be close to 4 billion in 2019, will actually see a CAGR of 37 or close to 38%, uh, and will reach 35, $36 billion by 2025.
Right. And how will simulations and emulations influence the factory settings?
So, this digital twin, when you look at it, can be applicable at a component level. You can look at an asset level, or at a production line system, or at a process level completely. You can play it depending on how you want to do it. Obviously, the spectrum would be from a small to large. And the original equipment manufacturers actually are simulating machine parameters digitally in a virtual environment to test the performance and output of the machine, which is actually bringing them, reducing their time to market, their installation and commissioning time, and also reducing the probability of failure during the initial start and the initial run of those operations. Uh, Machine parameter settings, also it helps to try and simulate before they actually go live in the factory. And the most important part is the operations team, which is going to absorb this technology or this equipment or this entire process setup, can be trained at site through virtual simulation training, which ensures higher safety and better, you can say, production uptimes during operations. Uh, the concept, as I said earlier, can be extended across the entire production line or to a set of processes, and you can simulate both man, material, and machine parameters to try and see how best to enhance the throughput and reduce the downtimes in an assembly line or shop floor.
Great. Thanks very much, Harsh, for joining us today. I thoroughly enjoyed the interaction, and I'm sure our listeners will also derive great value from the insights and information that you have shared with us today. Thanks once again.
Thank you, Selu, and I'll definitely look for a lot of feedback on this conversation.